Hi there, Vibe Gardeners. Welcome to another episode of Vibe Gardening Informal Edition, where we're going to talk about how I'm able to start becoming more efficient in my hydroponics operation, being able to not only being able to work more effectively for my plants, but also save money in the meantime. With that said, let's go. All right, so last time when we were in the hydroponics world, we went over the month 3 update on my hydroponic spinach. And as you can see, I've already gotten into a continuous workflow here of successfully growing spinach and be able to continue to produce spinach at a rate that will make an impact on my grocery trips to be able to reduce them. Now, money speaking, it's not a big deal, but it's going to be able to ensure that I'm able to maintain a steady, what you call it, supply of spinach for our smoothie every day. And from that episode, I realized I need to go more into how I'm able to get a continuous operation going on. So in this episode, we're going to go over a little bit about how I changed my air pump operation on a changing product I'm using. Now, the water pump, everything stayed the same because that was never a problem. And then we're going to go into a little bit of summary of what happened with the EC and the pH meter. And a little bit sort of, yes, referring to the EC pH meter episode, but also going over a little bit of my diagnosis on how I'm tackling the overall continuous meter I have. And I'm also going to go into a little bit too about how I'm managing nutrition and how that has changed as I have grown my operation. And then I'm going to go into a little bit about the future, what I plan to do with experiments to see how I can even further make my operation efficient. So with that said, here we go. So if you watch my hydroponics 101 episode on equipment, you'll realize that I've recommended these little guys, this 1 or 2 watt air pump that was on Amazon. These are extremely cheap. It's about I think $8 or $10 or so. It's under $10 for one of these air pumps, and the white label Chinese white label air pump, and it worked for what I needed to do. But what I did not realize was this thing right here. After only about 7 months, when I got my first one, it just died. It really just died. So I wasn't very happy about that. So one of the things I did was I absolutely went and got this here picture here product. It is a actual hydroponic designed air pump. It's 4 outlets, and what I have here is that for these lettuce toast right here, I have one of these air pumps going to both of these with the splitter. So here I'll make another image of the air hose splitter and all those different kits that come with it. So you can look below. So basically splitting it made a lot of sense because it's a very powerful air pump with 4 outlets. And each one of these two big, this 15 and 17 gallon container, each get their own air hose with their air stone in it. So this has proven to be very successful. And these are known to work significantly longer than the Chinese white label brands out there. And again, I'll link that product below, and that should be a lot more successful. And already I and another of my viewers have purchased these, and we have both have been very happy with the product. All right, so if you guys remember the episode on the EC and pH meters of how I went through them, I really looked at how to get an accurate reading on my pH and EC. And from that episode, I was able to move on to a Para system or Para instrument pH meter, and then start using a truncheon style EC meter. What I discovered from that is that this pH meter on the continuous meter is actually completely broken. It refused to be calibrated now, and also the EC meter was needing calibration, which is now calibrated. And the one thing that I learned from all that is that right now I have a functional EC meter on this continuous meter, but I also thought about the use case. For home hobbyists like me, does it actually even make sense to have a continuous meter? Now, it's definitely a little easier to get a reading on things if you want to, but if anything's really wrong and you're on vacation, would you be able to even do anything about it? Was my question to myself. And the answer is no. So right now I'm treating this continuous meter hydroponics as a luxury. But if this thing ever gets to the point where the EC meter itself even dies, I will likely decide to actually discontinue using a continuous meter like this and only stick with my pin style um, meters that I have. The Paris instrument and my truncheon style meter that you can see from my episode on it. All right, guys. So what I really show here is my shelf of hydroponic liquids, basically chemicals. And as you can see, these are the nutrition that I've been currently using. I've been using mostly these Flora series and these um, basically white label, Chinese white label, two-part nutrition. And these are actually fantastic for Flora series in that it's maximum control. But the thing is that it's not exactly the most cost effective, nor are these, even though these are significantly cheaper. The Flora series here is that not only is it maximum control, it's also tedious to mix in that you gotta get your measurements accurate and perfect every time you use it. So like, for example, right now for my vegetations, I'm doing two 10 parts of these three chemicals. And that can get, that can be time consuming, lots of measurements and everything. And so having this two-part hydroponic nutrition from Chinese white label is cheap as well. But these two will essentially are not the most cost effective. But here, what I discovered is General Hydroponics, they have a Maxi Grow formula, which is a one-part powder where you only essentially pay for the weight here, 2.2 pounds of just dry powder, no liquid. So what I do here with this is I would take one of those mason jars and I would mix up the Maxi Grow in here and get one of these pearl lids that I'll link below. And I would just end up being able to pour it at the rate I want to. But now I'm able to dilute this significantly. This is significantly weaker than the Flora series. So I don't have to be as precise with dumping the liquid in there. I know it's not exactly intended for you to be able to bring this out pre-diluted, but from looking on Reddit, people have been continuing doing this to success. So this is a proven technique of being able to use MaxiGrow, and it is fantastic, and I'm showing great results with my spinach system, my new one. And it is just a much more cost-effective way of feeding your plants. All right, so for my DIY friends at home and other home organizers, this is like a no-duh here. But essentially what I have done too is I did the cable management. As you can see, I've hung up extension cord. I got my outlet timer, smart outlet timer, coming this way with the three-prong, three-way extender. And then, so I got my air pump here with Active Aqua here, coming down here, and it's away from the water. And then I'll show you a little bit here detail of how I'm able to do a tiny bit of wire management. That basically was improvement of quality of life here, so that I can be able to move around and be able to, if I want to, move this chair and actually use it for what I wanted to do. And as long as I'm giving myself another table here to hold these guys. So that definitely was a big help for myself to be able to expand my operation without having all these wires and hoses tangle myself as I go. All right, guys, as promised, here's the cable management. It's nothing super fancy. Taking some nails, hang up the wires, and just kind of take it down here. And here's even more simple here. What I'm doing is I'm just basically doing a loop here with two nails bent back outwards, be able to get some extension cord going, and be able to power some of my other devices nearby. And so you switch the water pump to the other system down over there, and the air hose gets its own little bit of nail to hold it in. So basically, what I did was basically use nail under the stairs to set up a system where I can basically organize the hand wires and hoses. All right, so now that you guys have seen a little bit of what I've done to upgrade the efficiency of my hydroponic setup here, one of the things that, like I said earlier, is I want to talk about future improvements I want to make. So far, the water pump has given me no real reason to wanting to upgrade, but so I'm going to keep it as is right now. But the one thing for sure is the source of the water. It's getting very tedious and time consuming and also expensive to continually filter gallons and gallons. Like right now, I think I'm running 50 to 100 gallons now in my operation to get the water. So what I want to get into is I want to explore if I can somehow make tap water work, whether it be using tap water straight, treating it somehow to basically neutralize the chloramine, or any of those other things that can potentially be a problem. And see, obviously, I don't think every plant can take advantage of this, but what plants can, and what I can get away with to be able to basically do less water processing and be able to get away with the same results. So that's what I'll be looking for doing in the future. All right, guys, so now you've seen how I've been able to really become more efficient in my hydroponic system operations, from being able to change the air pump to more hydroponic friendly one, to being able to decide on how I'm going to be able to manage the instrumentation with the pH and EC meters, and also coming to how I have decided that I want to be able to maximize the cost to weight ratio of the nutrition I'm getting, basically the cost per ppm I'm getting. I hope that gives you guys a good idea of what I've done. Please comment below on things that you've done to make your operation more efficient. More years, guys. We're here as a community, right? So please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe and get more updates like these. And I would love to hear back from you guys. And with that said, keep gardening and keep vibing. Let's go.